Live from the apocalypse, galloping into the confusion. This is State of the Game. I am your faithful host, Dan O. Two things you need to know about me. One, as a kid, I listened to a lot of the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. Two, at my work desk every day is Ghidra the three-headed monster flexi toy. You know?
Hell yeah.
So, my co-host every week grew up watching Babar and said, "That's how I want to live." And
oh my god, I love that show.
Oh shit.
Real life Babar. K Diggy.
Babar. I gotta Google that. Let me.
You young for Babar? Oh,
Babar.
Yeah, that's true.
That was a great show. Great books too, right?
So sweet, yeah.
Babar had gear. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. I know. Okay, yeah, I know this. Elephant, yeah.
Elephant. So, thank you for being here as every week, Kay. You are my candle in the wind. You know.
I don't think I want to be. I don't think you want to be the candle in the wind.
I'm gonna regret that. So we have with us. I'm telling you, when we booked this, I just said, look, we have to have a way to talk to the Lasso. The Lasso is one of the most creative people going in music. Lasso, I gotta talk to the Lasso. As I sit right here, before we logged in, I was like, I can't believe I get to talk to A. Billi Free. That's where I'm at right now. I've gone through a whole journey here because Holy Body Roll is an album they put out this year through Mellow Music Group that appreciates so greatly in value from listen to listen that I've listened to it more than a lot of albums I studied for just because it's a real thing and they're here to discuss it. It's just awesome. So thank you for being on.
Hey, thanks for having us.
A great introduction.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Lasso. Looks like someone who is in Detroit. Like this is the Detroit right now. We got the beanie on. We got this. You know, this is gear you have ready.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Yeah. It's the temperature is dropping every day. Winter is coming.
Yeah.
In May,
filled in the air.
In Maine, they do that a lot where they're like, aren't you going to be too warm in that? I'm like, I don't trust this weather. I'd rather be too warm than have the rug pulled out from under. But yes, thank you for being here. And Kay, I want to get your reaction here. Just taking this album in, how do you feel? How do you feel about it?
I really enjoyed it. I think we discussed the state of R&B, soul music a couple of weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago. And I really just enjoyed, what I enjoyed about this was just the pace of it. You know what I mean? It was a very relaxed pace, a very it went at its own pace in a way that we're not getting in R&B music a lot nowadays. Just very laid back.
Yeah, but there's a lot of, and that's the thing is, I think when I first listened to it, I was like, this is cool. But when the more you listen to it, the more you pick on how nuanced the different moods are.
Yes.
And the incredible sincerity and poetry of the writing, which we will definitely dig into.
It just never feels rushed, which is that's the best way to put it.
Yeah. No, so to talk about the Lasso here, because I want to run some Lasso mythology by A. Billi Free. Because there's always these stories, right? I got a chance when the Lasso was putting an album with Elus. I heard a single and I said, please let me do an interview. I hadn't even heard the album. I was just like, let me ask you questions because I'm fascinated. And one of the things that came out of it was that they had driven around Detroit, kind of talking about stuff, listening to music, and communing. And then there was a similar note in the notes to this album that you had kind of gone with the Lasso and kind of communed about what you wanted to do. Is that your experience of working with the Lasso, that you kind of have to? It's not beat packs. We're gonna like know each other, and then make this thing.
Yeah, I think that's part of Lasso's like onboarding process. I think that is, that's just like part of the process with Lasso, that you have to take drives with him.
Yeah.
And or you have to like take walks with him.
Yep.
And for me, that is like very natural to me. A lot of my ideas come from walking in nature or in a cityscape if I happen to be in one. Yeah, that's what it is, and it's very enjoyable. And I think the idea of moving, right, whether it's through walking or in a vehicle, it just kind of relaxes people and gets them into a different headspace, rather than if you're like, like I'm cool with the like sitting in the studio in a dark basement somewhere and listening to beats and beat packs, like that's okay. But I think more ideas are generated when you're moving in a way, and I think that's a good technique.
Absolutely.
I'm with it.
Yeah, no, that it's just interesting. Is it that Lasso? Is it that like you can't just crank out stuff and hand it out? You have to be doing something. Is that what it is?
I think I make a lot of my best music just by myself. Is this certain like thing I can't get past? So like I have a lot of like I have to be alone a lot and make a lot of music alone to get like a project going. So like when I do get time to really be with the artist, like it's not always important to me that we're just like in total studio mode. It's more like I want to get a lot of perspective from them and talk about stuff and just connect, so that like when I am alone in the studio in my best creative place, like I'm informed by the person I'm writing for. So like the car thing is just like, I don't know, like that's just like my whole life. I just like driving around and listening to music. You start smoking weed at some age, and like the age I am, like you couldn't do it at a home or whatever because it was like illegal to that. So you just started to like hang out in cars with friends and like listen to music, and you get accustomed to that. Like that's just a space where I really like grew to love a lot of music, was just driving around. So it's still part of my process.
What would you say? Like, I know, like I read somewhere, like, in California, since they're driving a lot of their environment is built for, like, a lot of the music that comes from their environment is built for cars. Like, and I think, Dan, you were stationed in Texas, and you said the same thing. So how would you describe like the Detroit sound? What do you think the Detroit music is made for?
Yeah, Motor City, right? Like all you do is sit in your car. Like there's nowhere to walk around in Detroit. You like drive. Sometimes you don't even have a destination, so you're like picking up your friends and you're hanging out in the car and shit. So like let's look at all the great Detroit music, from like Motown to like the funkadelic shit to like techno music, Dilla, Moody Man, into today's like all the rap shit going on here. It always is like people just hang out in their cars and listen to music and drive. That's just a real part of life here. You're probably gonna like get in the car for like everything's 25 minutes away in Detroit. So you just listen to records and you got that tempo to it, that mechanical kind of pace. So people love fast music out here, and makes sense with like the freeway situation. LA, you like sit in the sun in your car Out here, you really drive on the freeway for like 20 minutes, like unless there's traffic. I don't know. Billy drives around with me in Detroit. It's definitely got a car thing. People drive kind of crazy out here too, so
Wow.
it's part of life.
Yeah, no, but Kay, the real Detroit question, right?
Okay.
In regards to hip hop, and I got a chance to sit down with Raffi of the Bruiser Brigade, who did great production work last year.
Sick.
And I got a chance to ask him, like, the legacy of Detroit hip hop production wise is just really fucking with time signatures, just really wrecking and rearranging time signatures.
Oh, I like that.
And and I asked him the reason why, and I'll give you his answer, which was the stuff that's on our radio is just not the stuff that's on your radio, right? It goes from Motown to house music to reggae to whatever, right? So
Yeah.
we don't grow up with feelings of limitations within time signatures.
That's true. Like that's still true in Detroit, and I think it has been for a while. People listen to all kinds of music. There's like there's real like techno radio in Detroit, and there has been like my entire life. Like there's stations that's what it is, and it's on the radio, and yeah, rock music and shit out here too. There's people like that gets blended in a cool way, and machine music, like it's awesome. Yeah, I like that. That's cool. That dude's so great right now too. That's cool. You did an interview with him. I love his beats.
Yeah.
I'd also posit that Detroit has a reputation, especially as compared to like places like Chicago, like a very like underdog vibe in a certain sense, even though there's a super rich legacy. But that doesn't like mess with their confidence. It just allows them to like play around and like fuck around and do all sorts of like crazy shit and be like, okay, it's still gonna work because we come from this rich legacy, and also because we're not under the microscope as a New York or an Atlanta or a Chicago would be.
That makes sense. You don't have people who are screaming at the top of the mountain whenever somebody tries something new. You're desecrating the history of our sound. You can try weird stuff in Detroit, and people are like, "I like that shit. That's fun."
Yeah, there's a lot of people making music for people in the city and the taste that's here. And I think that's true anywhere with like regional music. But some of the stuff here, you play it for people outside of the city, and it's like really fun to see. Like you just don't know that it's going on, like with all the real fast shit and all the trap music now that's sampling electro music and all that. It's just kind of an interesting tempo and pace.
I think we should do the thing where I talk about one of my guests to the other guest while that guest watches. So, hey, Billy, what I like about the Lasso, what I really like about the Lasso is that I think there's a lot of misconceptions around funk, right? Funk as a music. I think people think that it's really happy and cute. Like if people close their eyes and think about it, their mental image of funk would be like a white guy at a Halloween party with an afro wig, and that sucks, right? And the Lasso understands all the emotional nuance of funk, the whole rainbow of different emotions you can get out of funk, how dark you can make it, how slow you can make it, how the mid-tempo. He does funk in places no one touches, I think. Am I right or wrong?
Or has not touched in a long time.
Yeah.
I would agree. And I also would say that, sometimes you don't understand the light until you're in the dark, right? Until you're in the dark. And I think that Lasso's musical repertoire is like very vast. And so because he understands music in that vastness, but also in a very detailed way. He has the ability to shape funk in the manner that you're saying. You know, he knows how to come at funk in all sorts of different angles because he has a very deep and wide understanding of krautrock. He has a very deep and wide understanding of rap. He has a very deep and wide understanding of R&B, so on and so forth. Also, you know, soundtrack music, ambient music. So, for me as a songwriter, it's very fun because I don't get the same beats all the time. I get very different. I get packs of sound, but they're like very different, and I may not know the history or all of the nuance, but to my ear can tell that it's different, and it feels good.
Yeah, that's great. Great explanation. And Kay, like you said, this is a smooth thing, right? But this album is kind of like a hardworking comedian tricking the crowd into thinking that it's a conversation. Like, Thrive Despite is a really herky-jerky, strange song. Like, in terms of the time and like, it's just a really interesting song in terms of the speed of it. But it does sound smooth. And part of that is because Billy Free is a freak and has like this flow that can be rap, that can be singing, that can be intermediate, it can go anywhere. But also the Lasso is an evil genius. So like that combination, it makes it smooth when it's actually really strange. There's a comma in that title for a reason.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I think you guys, both of your energies play off each other very well.
Yeah.
So how did the collaboration between you two come to be?
Yeah, we were. I was living down in Tucson, Arizona, and there's a festival down there, a hip hop festival, and we were both performing at it. Billy was playing solo, and I was performing with this artist, Lando Chill. And we, I don't know, I think we just both heard each other's sets and, you know, at some point either talked to each other and then started a message. And it was just like the path from that to having an album, like, it's pretty long, you know, when I look back now. And like, there's no way to fast forward, like, being able to make a record together. So there's lots of texting, and then you start to be like share beats and try stuff. There was like a whole like almost like album worth of stuff Billy was rapping on that I produced that we just didn't ever finish any of that. Except then there's this one track that was 2121, which was one of my last like compilation project I made. And that was like just one of the songs Billy sang on in this pack that she had rapped on. And it was like once I heard her start singing, that's when I really was like, oh, there is something for us to collaborate on. But, you know, this is over like 5 years. You just kind of here and there talk, and then you really started to find a thing, you know. And yeah, it's surreal looking back now, you know, like it's definitely whatever comes next, you know, it's going to be after a little bit of like a plateau in a way of not like just like naturally, like we took a long like climb to be able to make an album, and then we played shows with it, and it's out on, you know, we've been selling records, it's getting a bunch of streams, and it was like that's just so many years to get there, you know. Like just becoming friends, driving around in a car, and you make so many beats that we don't finish. Billy writes lyrics that don't make it onto records. It's like, so when you look back, it's like, I don't know, like to think about, I'm starting to get tired. It's like, it's so much like life, so much life to have lived to like have the record. So I'm really proud of it when I sit here and like think about how many years ago that was 5 years ago. I think that was a 2017 or a 2018 festival. I think 2017 maybe.
Yeah.
So hell yeah.
Yeah.
Developing we're developing with each other. When people always tell us we have a cool synergy, and it's like because we developed together. It wasn't sort of like, hey, fit into this thing I do, and it wasn't like Billi just did what she does with other people on it. So it's like we took a bunch of time and built a sound and a collaboration.
And I mean, how does the Tri Magi album fit into this? And I'm terrible at pronouncing things.
Tri Magi.
Tri
We should have
Wow.
put a J in. Should
Wow.
have put a J in.
The people that think I'm terrible pronouncing things are going to have a field day with this. Yes.
Yeah, well, that's like, it's cool. Everything's kind of come together now, but like, I've kind of been flipping between like either producing a record and then doing something instrumental, like for the last few years. Like, and the instrumental thing is for me really similar to working with an artist. Like, I'll write the music and I'll make the core beat sort of thing, but then it's always sort of a scene for someone else to be the character in. So like when I started to make this like last batch of instrumental stuff, I was like, I'd already worked with Sasquatch and Jordan for years. Like they'd been a part of my music, I'd been a part of theirs. We were around each other, and then it was like, I want to do something different than just make a beat tape. I'm going to make like an instrumental kind of beat tape that has like instrumentalists as the vocalist, the center of it. So, that we just became so same thing as the Billi thing. It was just like we planted seeds a long time ago, like to know how to write music together, and now it's really cool. Like I was able to. Then the Billi album's like, whoa! Now they're writing into this vocal music I'm producing, and they're a huge part of the sound. Like it's crazy. Like it takes all of us kind of to get the thing that was envisioned. So yeah, really just they give me a lot of confidence. Like working with like musicians like them. Like that was a huge step in my life because like I'm trained in a way, like I played instruments when I was a kid in school bands and ensembles, and I definitely studied, but like at a certain point I became more someone who's just like focused on samplers, 4-track cassette machines, being a producer, instrumentalist, and I stopped training. So to like catch up and have a place where I can work with like really accomplished instrumentalists, like people who in their 20s they took their playing of a singular instrument to another level, as opposed to being a producer or a songwriter. That was just so exciting to know that like I have a way to work with people like that.
This is like I've always wondered about your relationship with the label, because Mellow is a very kind of dependable place, right? Apollo Brown does Apollo Brown stuff. La Orange is eclectic, but reliably eclectic. And there you are ping-ponging around the mellow music stratosphere, doing Kirlian or Tri Magi, or just like going wherever you want to go within the space.
Yeah.
Is it always a green light, or is it like do they ever try and calm you down, or talk you in stuff?
They've just been super supportive. I got nothing but awesome things to say in terms of like the stuff, like their openness to me just exploring what I was sincerely wanting to do. And when they offered me the chance to work with them, like as I was kind of just saying there, it's like all these things have been developing for a while. Like I had the idea actually for like all these records years ago, and then it's crazy they're done. Like at the time that Mello signed me, like I was like, I got this instrumental album that was the sound of Lasso. Lucid and I are already connected and like starting the path that like somewhere like Billi and I had been on.
Yep.
Like he and I had met and already like we're making something. And Billi and I were already working together too. I was like, eventually I'm going to make a record with this person, one Billi. And I'm like, spiritual was in the whole like universe. So
yep.
it wasn't like I didn't have a plan. I guess I'm just someone who had a lot of different ideas. And, like I'm finally at a place where like I've been able to refine that a little bit and have narrowed that. But just the time they signed me in my life, I had a lot of things to say, I guess is how I put it, like in a lot of collaborations that have already been like rooting, and props to them for, giving me fertile place to do that and giving me like the resources it takes to do that, because it's not like my records sell a shitload of copies or something, but like that wasn't, they gave me a space to push myself musically, and I think it's all been it's been nothing but a success as far as I'm concerned. Like I was just a random dude producing records, and I really feel like I've grown something unique. So I'm really proud of that. And it was because of them that I was able to do that.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I told this to Elucid. I'll tell this to you. I think Small Bills is the greatest Halloween rap album of all.
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, it's coming up on its 2-year anniversary. October 30th.
That is made for Halloween. That is an album made for
Yeah,
Halloween.
it really is.
Yep.
Fuck. Hell yeah.
Yep.
Dude, I was with you. October 30th of 2021 when it came out, because we were filming 2121, the video.
Yeah. We really had a machine going those few years. I've been just living more like a regular person recently, but for a couple years, there's like when a record was coming out, the next one was being finished. And that's like something I dreamed of for a while. So it's cool to have that experience and be able to do that.
You were on like a Lil Wayne schedule? Like
no doubt. Yeah. For sure. I love that kind of being able to live in it like that. It's a really special experience.
That's awesome. That's cool. Switching to, I wanted to ask, now we asked the Lasso about A Billy Free. So, in terms of like, because as someone who, like, I didn't grow up to be a critic. That was not my dream as a kid. I sold my books to people in my college classes and thanked them for it. So the second half of this album, 6 to 12, leaves me absolutely fucking speechless in terms of the writing. The writing is so beautiful and so textured and so literary.
Oh yeah. I'm grabbing a copy of the vinyl right now. I got to look at the track list here.
I'm absolutely. I just re-listened to it, and I'm like proud for her,
right.
I would be over the moon. Like when you heard these, is there any song on here specifically that really floored you from a writing perspective?
Yeah. Burned but returned.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because like everything does. Like every time Billy sends me a track, I can't tell you how exciting that is. Like to hear someone write with that much intention over something, I make at home. So yeah, Burn But Return though was crazy because most of the record was done, or it was like maybe 70% done. And we went down to Tucson to work. And I'm the kind of person who, like, when I go on a recording trip, like the first day I get there, I make sure to set up the gear so when I wake up the next morning, it's set up because I know I'm going to feel really good. I just like flew somewhere. I had a meal with my friends. I got a night of sleep. So I woke up and recorded Burn Wrote Return. It was a heavy moment in my life. But I felt like I wrote these really cool chords. The music came really fast. It took maybe an hour. And then I played it for Billy, I think, when you came just as an instrumental at Paul's house. And then it was just like 2 weeks later. It's usually like 2 weeks later, Billy hits you back and it's like done. It's an Ableton session. We know how to like transfer our files in a way like She records all our own vocals. And yeah, it's really hard. We always talked about writing a ballad, and it's kind of like, I don't feel like there's a lot. It's not like a pursuit that a lot of people are on in 2022 or 2021. Like, let's write a ballad, but like try to make it fit our aesthetic. And I feel like she just did it so well. Like, it's like relatable and universal, but it's not like corny or contrived or simple or like it doesn't. But it's like, has someone said that before? Burn but return? But it's like that's how I always think with some of your songwriting. I'm like, have I heard this before, or did you make it up? And like, I don't like knowing, and I like that's like a cool part of Billi's ability. She writes these things that feel familiar, but like they might be of her own invention, or they might be turns of like common phrases. Riding the beam, same thing. I love that phrase.
Yeah.
Like, where's that? Like, people are like, yeah, I'm gonna ride into the sunset or some shit. I've heard people say stuff like that, but I like ride the beam. It's like this other cosmic version of it. So yeah, sorry, but back to Burn But Return. Yeah, it has this classic thing to it, but it's just so full. There's a bridge. There's an opening verse, a second verse, a bridge, and then like a final verse that's like an elevated kind of take on what she was doing in the front half. And that's just like cool. It's like classic songwriting. But that's hard to do.
No, it's and I like your point about the phrases, because I think part of the magic of this of writing, of being around great writing, just is like hearing words organized in a way you just haven't heard them before. Same words you interact with all the time, but now they're in a new order, and you're sitting by me, and I think that's really cool.
It really is. Like, Billi has this like economy of words. Like, she doesn't like, not like there's like no extra ones. And like,
No
Billi
waste.
sends me, Billi sends me lyric sheets. So maybe it's because you like look at them or something. I don't know. Like, how do you do that? Because like I feel like that's so hard to do. Like, what we're saying, Billi, you're right. Like, there's not a lot of extra shit in it.
Yeah, agreed. And it's mostly because I write for myself, but I also write for the audience, and I don't want them to waste their time listening to superfluous words, right? I like to add in different vocabulary, or just shape phrases in a way that saves ear space, right? Like, instead of listening to a phrase that could be phrased more economically, you can now listen to a portion of the music that's like really beautiful and really moving, right? So that's where I'm coming from.
Love that.
Who are some of the artists that you would say inspired your writing style, or that you've drawn inspiration from?
I'm going to divert this question because I actually don't really listen to a lot of vocalists. And I think that for me is like a safe space, because then I don't fall into a trap of like unintentionally copying somebody or imitating someone. Mm-hmm. But I will tell you that Black Thought is one of my favorite rappers. He's in like the top 5 pantheon. And also, when I discovered hip hop is also when I discovered like jazz, like Sarah Vaughan, Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald, who I share a birthday with. And the way that they worked in words within the jazz structure, I think very much influenced my songwriting. So, I'll give you that.
Yep, I like it. Yeah, no, it's and Kay, the different points and emotional emphasis. That's why I said the sincerity of this album. Like, They Wonder is a very angry song. Very angry song. But like, Silhouette is this incredibly beautiful romantic song. I think Silhouette and Between Us Is Light are both just two of the most like beautiful, sensual songs of the year. And I, yeah. So
Feel
different,
that.
total different moods. You know.
I agree. Can you talk a little bit about the sequencing? How did you guys decide and design the sequencing of the album?
Well, I'll start, Lasso. You can finish because sometimes I don't remember the process. But I know that we played around with order, and what we landed on was like, how would this sound on vinyl? Like, we sequenced it very much to play on vinyl and as a vinyl experience. Like, how did we want to take people through this journey? And I don't think that we had to change a lot. I think our original order was just switched around just a little bit because there are so many different moods, but they're like chunks of moods. So it wasn't too hard to get it together. What would you say, Lasso?
Yeah, and some of the tracks were made for like specific spots, like Riding the Beam. Like, I'm like, hey Billy, I'm gonna write a song that could be the last cut on the record or a piece of music. It's gonna kind of be like this, and she's like, cool. And then I made the music, sent it to her, and she had the vocals. Same with like Holy Body Roll we made early on. It was like, okay, this is this is the first track on the record. Then Alignment was one that was made to I made Holy Body Roll, and Alignment was one that's like, this is gonna go right after that one. So sometimes there are these little like clusters.
Yep. And then you go from like I said, They Wonder to me. There's a lot of like anger in that, but then you go to Dreams right after, and it is like you're floating, right? It is definitely a different, space. It's a very meditative space, and it's so interesting, and all the songs are delivered in a different way. The other part of the writing, Lasso, is how much range Billy has vocally, like in terms of the ability to move her voice into different places.
Yeah. But Billy moves into a lot of different places, but like she only ever seems to do things she's like developed or something. So like that's what I think is cool. There's like always these sort of like some people like try a lot of shit and you have to edit it a lot. I don't have to edit a lot of Billy's stuff. Like it comes as a sort of like, yeah, you just like find a thread that goes through it, and it maybe requires you to do like a singing part, a more spoken part, a rap part, and like just her ability to flip between these couple of like modes that she just like owns. It's like there's always a path through whatever beat I send her, and like one song that's kind of crazy. I was looking at the vinyl now, like "Call Me," like that's just like, not like we're all like arranging the shit out of that because there's like nothing that really changes. It's just one chord the entire song, but like Billy does all these different things that make it like there's these chunks of the song, but it's like one chord, which is crazy. We're building all these things on top of it. But yeah, I love that about working with Billy. I like I've said this, I kind of write these scenes and people get to be the characters in them, and Billy's and I just have a cool connection. There's a lot for us to do within it. It's awesome. Like I've always loved working with people who are on the edge of like singing and then whatever rap, spoken word, etc. Like a non melodic vocal thing. Like it's all about mixing those two together. And Billy does that so fluidly, but it's in this like, I don't know. It's cool. It's an awesome collaboration. Like she's able to like take all these things and find a place in them and make them like songs and they have meaning, like I don't know what they're going to be about when I'm making them, it's crazy to like look at them done because I'm thinking about the day I made My Dreams like I'm not thinking about it like what could be said about people or a situation
Right,
with
right,
them
right.
a sound. And now like years later, it's like that's such a like world and a story. It's so cool that you can pull that out of just sounds. Billy's able to
Mm,
pull all these things out of a sound.
mm.
Yeah, when you really feel like everything has a point, your foundation is so much stronger.
Yeah.
And that's I feel like that is present. Not only is the writing great, it's not great writing for great writing's sake. It's really grounded in like an emotional truth um, for every song, and I think that's real special. And I like it.
So, hey Billy, what would you say it is about Lasso's production? Like, what does it draw out of you as a writer? Like, how does it inspire you?
It, I would say I don't know. I just feel it, but that wouldn't be a proper answer. But honestly, it is. I mean, I just think that, as I said before, he has such a wide, he has a lot of things to pull from because he's studied a lot and he's listened a lot. And that very much translates into his music. It's not an imitation, but very much an homage. And this is something that I can appreciate. And that we were both Midwest raised, right, with Southwest connections. And so I think that the music and the vibes coming from both of those places help us connect musically and artistically, but also personally because we sort of understand each other, which helps us understand each other in the music as well. And I mean, I mean, it's not just me, right? It's Lando Chill, it's Elucid, it's Spiritual. It's like all of the other artists that he's worked with will tell you the same thing. Like, he has an ability to, I know he's not making specifically for people when he's making music, but when he's making music, it's very, it comes from a special place. And I think that the people that work with him understand that and they can connect with that. And it's very much a feeling thing. And I'll say that I don't just write lyrics and then fit my lyrics into the beat. I very much write to them. And so whatever I come up with, it comes out of the beat. You know, so it's this very like mysterious, unknown, uncertain synergy that just works out in the end.
Yep. No, you have to have a sense of poise to be the narrator of a Lasso project. You become like Willy Wonka and the Lasso chocolate factory, and you're getting the audience through the chocolate factory. And you have to be like, "Hey, trust me, I got you. I'm getting you."
Yeah, right. I feel like a docent in Lasso's Willy Wonka chocolate factory.
All right.
And there's like different rooms, right? And
Yep.
a lot of his collaborators are in those different rooms, like guiding people through those experiences, and like helping it take more shape.
Yep. Which makes Jordan Hamilton and Oompa Loompa, I guess, in this situation. Metaphor.
You'd be like, oh hell no.
Metaphor. What are you gonna do? But we need to get A Billy free like a singer tag, kind of like a producer tag, and it's just me saying "Hey Billy," and then do that. Repeat that, loop it up, Conductor Williams style.
Do it.
Sick.
Do it. I'm down for it.
Yeah, you gotta email that over to her.
But no, it's Kay. Give me your favorite runs on this album. How did you feel?
I mean, Holy Body Roll. Like you said, the last half, I loved My Dreams to Between Us Is Light.
Ooh, ooh. Yeah.
So yeah, let me go. My dreams, evidence of things, silhouette, between us is light.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'll give you a little trivia because you were talking about Thrive Despite before. That song, so that the cadence I got from it, I told Lasso I don't see any at the time he didn't know, but you know when Shirley Caesar does the like green beans, things, tomatoes, that one.
Yeah.
That's where I got the cadence of that song from. So that's a little trivia for you.
That's
Sick.
I did hear that. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's great. Yeah. No, it's real cool. So many different cadences, different flows. I kept thinking like, yeah, especially with Thrive Despite the like you know, that Dilla would really love how that moves, you know. That it's just there's a Detroit is always there as you grow. And that's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
That influence is there. Yeah, and I'd also say that, you know, we're both, and I think all of the collaborators on the album are very knowledgeable in different types of music, but I think in particular Lasso and I, our base was hip hop because we met at a hip hop festival. We started out making hip hop, and then it just sort of evolved into this smoother funk, R&B, soul type thing. And I think that people there's not a lot of like stated hip hop elements in there, but it can definitely be felt if people are familiar with both of our work. And also that along the lines of writing with an economy of words, I also write generally for live performance.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a chance to play these songs live for a couple of audiences. And, you know, both the sound and the lyrics and the live instrumentation, I think that translated well, that we did write for live because the response was very powerful in a live setting.
For real.
Yeah. No, I would say everybody should go on YouTube and find the Mellow Performance, the Mellow Sessions, I believe it's called.
Mellow Sessions, that's right.
Check out the Mellow Sessions. Check out Camera 2 and the unbelievable close-ups that happen out of nowhere. Really exciting to just be like checking this performance out and all of a sudden just find yourself in the elbow of someone who's working the instrument.
Inside of Saxbox's saxophone.
Yeah,
The
incredible.
keyboard.
So, yeah, no, it was great though. It was great to see the band together. Like how much since this is really kind of an instrumental experience, right? With Jordan Hamilton, cello, percussion, you know, Deep Greasy on bass, Sackwash, Grayson Nye. Did everybody get together to make this, or did you, Lasso? Did you get together and make the instrumental and then send it to Billy, or?
Like as far as the record?
Yeah, as far as
Yeah. Like we did it a few different ways. Like sometimes it'd be like I make the beat, Billy puts vocals on it, then we add more instrumentation. Sometimes I'd make the beat, add a bunch of instrumentation with Grayson, Saxquatch, etc. Jordan, everybody, and then Billy would add vocals, and then you just kind of edit, or some stuff gets added later. But yeah, it usually starts from like me making something by myself. That's like the drums, the bass, like a bass part or a demo of a bass part, some keyboards, and then like Billy writes to that.
So it's like it's a bass groove. You send it to Billy. Billy starts working, and then you start kind of peppering in the flavor.
Most of like anything I'm gonna do on a track, regardless of these albums, like pretty much anything I put on them happens in like an hour or two.
Okay.
Like the day I make it, you know, like like I'll make it and like everything's there, and I'll kind of edit stuff down over time. But for me, like I at this point, like yeah, it takes me making a lot of stuff, but like nothing I make, like nothing that ever becomes cool I spent that long on. Like that's just the reality of it.
That's
Like the
fair.
stuff I like put a bunch of time into often ends up being like less interesting than these things that happen at once. So like any instrument I played on Thrive Despite, for example, happened like the morning I made that beat or whatever. And then other people add stuff later on, and I edit stuff down and whatnot. But
That's cool.
yeah.
That makes sense. Once you're excited, you finish the thing.
Yeah. It's all really like about catching the feeling of doing it right then.
Yep. I've always marveled at producers like with 7-year beats, that finally hit the airwaves, and I'm like, wow, you really raised that beat,
Yeah, or maybe they do similar thing. They're just sitting on it. Yeah, it's
Yep.
yeah. The life of this stuff is funny when you like look back on it. Like it's crazy it even gets completed because it starts from so little.
Right. Right. Yeah. No,
It's like
yeah, that's awesome. And so what, like, is this a collaboration that will continue, or like, or is like, what do you think is your next move? Because this album clearly feels built from the last album, like that Tri Magi gave birth to this, and then like I'm very interested in the next move forward.
yeah, I think, yeah, we'll definitely make it.
I think more but deeper. More
Yeah,
but deeper, but we're also not like we're not like trying to race towards the finish line of anything.
Yeah.
We're just letting it flow because that's how it happened in the beginning. So we're not trying to like push for a sophomore thing, right? But I have a feeling, and I think Lasso has a feeling that it is going to happen, but it's not going to be through sheer force. It's going to be through us experiencing living lives, hopefully doing more live shows together, and then just getting together with everyone and continuing to create.
Yeah, I don't know. I sort of have this feeling because I've done so many collaborations, and like I haven't been able to like, not haven't been able, but I haven't gone back to like and made more with people, and that's like I don't think about it that way. Like I'm so like if we don't make anything else, that doesn't like stress me out at all either. Like that there's nothing like you want to like, I'm not into the grind. I'm trying to, like I'm letting go of any sort of grind thing or like need to chase some sort of like the business part of it. So like I believe that like in both of our tastes and our evolutions of music, like there's more to say in this sound we came up with.
Right.
But we'll have to just like, it'll have to be lived into, and if it doesn't, I'm like so stoked we made it. And then like the live thing is the next step for me. That's where there's like some room to, because like even if you guys are in the room and you heard it after hearing the album, it's like it's different and it's like heavier and like the everything you could potentially like about it is somehow more magnified. And so for me, like that's the next thing I want to keep feeling is like the live thing, as opposed to needing more material. The material was starting to get so different how we played it live. I'm like, oh shit, what's that? And so that's the path to the next record to me is like the 6 of us who play these shows will probably, I'll probably bring demos to the next jam, the next rehearsals, and they'll grow through like the ensemble. Like that's something I haven't done. And so that's like interesting to me, like make a record with a band actually.
Yeah.
Not like we're going to be in the same room and record it. Like
Right.
3, 2, 1, or something. It's like,
Right.
but the same like 6 people would essentially like develop the music in some sort of like tandem or hybrid thing,
Yeah.
Not switch it up too much, but it'd be like maybe some more playing live before we hit the studio.
You
Everybody
guys play with a live band, so are you?
Yeah, it's the 6 of us who made the record. So it's like live bass, saxophone, cello, Jordan on cello, Grayson on keys, Billy on vocals, and then I'm playing keyboards, and then I have all the drum machine parts from the record. So there's this still it hits with like the sample, like we want it to still sound like the record, but most all the instrumentation's like live with the loops, and we're able to extend stuff and move it around and connect it and be kind of free with it.
How would you explain like how the records sound live and compare them to how they sound recorded? You feel like there's a difference?
Yeah, there's like a lot more, like the highs are higher and the lows are lower and stuff. And like even that, I'm like, I hope we get to experience it again. But we got to play some pretty sweet shows, and it was like, wow, there's something real here, and I hope we get to play it more, because I didn't really realize what it was till we played it live. Like when we played it live, it's like, oh fuck, okay, like I saw it then. When you see people in the room reacting to like some of the individual moments and songs, it was like, yeah, the things that would, if the things you could potentially like about us are like magnified with it. Like you can really feel the like lyrics. That's what people keep telling me. They're like, damn, Billy's crazy live. Like her words really like resonate with you in the room. And then I think you could hear this album and like, there's saxophone on it, but like when you hear saxophone, like Saxwatch playing live with Jordan, and they have all these crazy lines in tandem, like a lot of these parts, there's like double cello saxophone, these harmonized lines. You hear people play that in person, and it's like there's some pretty insane musicianship, and like feeling that is just in a room is so awesome. I'm so sick of making beats in my room. I'm like, dude, I got to play at shows. It feels so different,
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. Not to overanalyze, Kay, but like the Lasso loves the kind of soul funk R&B that moves you without you even knowing you're moving, right? That makes you dance without you even consciously knowing that you are, and loves that so deeply that I totally understand getting to play it live and going, oh shit, now my music moves people. This is cool.
Yeah, for real.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I was there, and like I can't stop smiling about it. You know what I mean? Like, and even when we're like marketing and like reposting clips, like I just still get hyped.
Yep.
And so I can only imagine what people who were there who are really feeling it. I completely agree with what Lasso said, and it's way more intense, but in a very good way. It's like a good like when you're in the height of a mushroom trip and things are like super vivid, but also a little intense, but not too intense.
Yep.
It's really special,
That's awesome. Yeah. No, I look forward to it. And Mello has all kinds of cool sales, where and I think more and more people will get familiar with this record, and will start to clamor for more stuff from each of you. So that's exciting too.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, there's no question that you won't be doing what you did, because you never have. So I understand that you will be moving forward. Kay, do you have any other questions, or are we going into recommendation corner?
Oh, let's go into recommendation.
Corner. I'm going to start by recommending people listen to an album. I don't know why, but listening to Holy Body Roll made me think of an album that John Coltrane did with Johnny Hartman. It's just called John Coltrane and Johnny Hartman.
Cool.
And
I don't know it.
love this album. It's a weird little gem. I think a lot of historians don't understand why Coltrane did it, because Coltrane was so ravenously experimental, and Johnny Hartman was a very classic, singer. And Coltrane loved beautiful sounds. Naima's proof of that, all this stuff, but Coltrane loved beautiful sounds, and he just made these really kind of this beautiful classic sounding album with, McCoy Tyner, just all kinds of great people involved. And it's very pretty, and Hartman is very poised and sincere, and it's just a beautiful world to live in. So I would recommend people go ahead, listen to Holy Body Roll, and listen to John Coltrane and Johnny Hartman.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And what else do I got here? There's a lot of stuff. There's some really weird stuff that hasn't come out yet that people need to keep on the radar. The truly wild and out there Fatboy Sharif is putting out an album with No Face that I have heard. It is truly something different. You really have to hear it. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, that's my homie, Fatboy Sharif.
Oh, he's superb.
Love him.
This thing is really interesting and really cool. The other one from Chicago, Angelina dropped an EP. I don't regret a thing. Yeah, and it's got great bangers, great vocals on it. 5 songs, something like that. Check it out. It's on Bandcamp. Let me go back to the spelling. Angel, Enah.
Yo, the sun set on Billy.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, sorry, subscribers.
In the dark.
It's a Halloween edition.
Halloween. Awesome. Yeah. So, Kay, give me some recommendations. What do you got?
Let's see, man. Nothing new. This is the 20th anniversary of The Velvet Rope by Janet Jackson. So I've just been listening. I've been listening to that this weekend, and I mean, just going back to that record, I think that record was, I don't want to say was slept on, but I think people, if you go back and listen to it now, you'll see that it was very ahead of its time for when it came out. So,
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, no, great album. One of the true like neo soul classics that you have to have for that.
absolutely.
Yeah, no, the Lasso. What are you listening to? What are you doing?
What have I been listening to? Let me look. See some recent stuff. Well, I've been real obsessed with that last FK Twigs album.
Yep.
Going to some shows this weekend. That's kind of exciting. I'm going to see Billy Woods and Quelle tomorrow. And then Sunday I'm going to see King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. So
I love King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
So like yeah, I'm excited to see some shows.
Wow. Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, a couple good nights.
Yeah, no, but I was so surprised when I went to see Woods and the crowd was like screaming out every line. They just knew.
Oh yeah.
It was so cool to have that. So
yeah, those shows are awesome.
Very cool. The Billy, what are you checking out?
So I'm a selector, and I've been playing a lot of shows that are out of my comfort zone. So I played a show for like a Latin reggae band, and they wanted Afrobeat. So listening to some of Burna Boy's stuff, some Rima. There's this DJ Tune and Usisiwa called Majesty. Also, I spun my first Vogue ball, so just kind of getting into like classic Vogue music and some new stuff. There's this band called Purple Crash that has some like really tight Vogue music. Also listening to some oldies like this track called Cunty by Kevin Aviance. And I had to listen to the new Beyonce album, which is like really cool because like I'm not the largest Beyonce fan, but I think that she always does very good about pulling back, like giving credit historically to innovators and originators in whatever style that she's doing. So I don't mind her new album.
Right.
So yeah, those are a few of the things that I've been checking out.
To me, the most important thing about the Beyonce album is that Big Freddie is on it. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So important and so awesome. So, yeah, I'm excited about that. And Kay, Streets of Africa by Burna Boy stays in the car all the time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Gotta have it. That's good.
Good.
Love Burna.
There's also this artist that he's worked with called Buju. He is tight. He's got this song called Never Stop and Finesse. And he's done some stuff with Burna Boy too, but this guy, his rhyme scheme, his enunciation, his cadence, like how he writes the beat in that particular Afrobeat style, like he's one of my favorite out right now.
How do you spell that?
It's Buju, B-U-J-U, but I think he also goes by like B-N-X-N or something like that. But look up Never Stop and this song called Finesse, and you'll and Afrobeat, and he'll pop up. He's like he's charting right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I saw it. Got an album from 2020, 24 Hours in Lagos City. So
Yep.
I think that is the person we want.
Oh, hell yeah.
Gotta love it. Yeah, we are Afrobeat friendly, Kay. Remember
For sure.
we had the Whiz Kid way up there.
Whiz Kid, hell yeah.
Yep.
So that track Whiz Kid has with Damian Marley, Bless. I just heard it. I was like, what in the world? Like, this is smooth as hell.
Yep. Everybody should check the, I don't know if you've seen this, Kay, but do you remember that Essence song with Whiz Kid and Thames?
Yes.
There's footage out there of a live show where like Thames came out and Whiz Kid started like stage humping her. And she was not into it. She was clearly not into it and was trying to like, project some space out there. And people are now saying they're not going to work together again because, I mean, when you don't want
Thames is taking off. Thames is like the next big thing. So,
yeah, no, it's lots of ins and outs.
That was like a Rihanna Drake sounding situation.
Yep. It's Afrobeat Twitter is no joke. There's a lot of discussions happening. Shout out to everybody that way. Kay, I don't know if you knew this. I saw somebody the album behind me, the Andrew and Zilla Rocca.
yes.
Somebody posted a picture of the CD, right? And they were like, I got shouted out on the CD. And I looked and I got thanked also in the liner notes. Don't wait for me to leave. Both of them put me in the thank yous. It was I've never taken an album before. That was pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful, man.
And it's an album I play almost every Sunday. It's a Sunday album.
Absolutely.
So,
well, I'm not surprised, and I'm going to talk about you to you. I'm breaking the rules here.
Sure.
I just met you today, but you seem like someone who very much loves music and has the ability to get inside of music, and you have a large repertoire, and you can make comparisons. between different types of music and music within its own genre. So this shout out that you're mentioning, I'm definitely not surprised of being my first time meeting you.
1,000%.
I appreciate that. Being excited gets you a long way. So a lot of people can't do it. So I thank you so much for being here. Obviously, keep us appraised of whatever's going on in the future, Mellow or beyond. Yeah. Everybody watch Lower Decks on Paramount Plus. Funny show.
Sick.
What will tomorrow